Hopefully my head doesn't get cut off. I might do. That'll be fixed in a second. And we're going to take our hands onto our belly, the hara. So just having your feet kind of hip width apart a little bit there, and starting a little tapping on your belly. It's really to feel the vibration, the radiance of all of our cells in our body. So a nice bit of tapping, and then allow the hands to come up and a little tapping against the chest bone, the sternum, the breastbone there, around the heart. Not too crazy, just a nice little bit of tapping. And then you're going to take your right hand to your left shoulder and around the back of your shoulder, and then let's take the hand down the front of the arm, the top of the arm, down to your hand, and then come up on the inside of the arm, down the front of the arm, and come up the inside of the arm. And then one more time, down that arm and coming up. Lovely. So lifting that left arm up, and underneath the arm there, the lymph glands, the side of the body. Nice. And then you're going to take your hands around your hip, the outside of your hip, down the outside of the left leg, down towards your ankle, even the top of the foot, and then coming up the inside of the leg. Extra little bit of time there between the ankle and the knee. And then the inside of the top part of the leg. And then we come back up to our belly again. Just noticing, closing your eyes, any difference between the left side and the right side of the body. And then we take the hands a little higher up. Now it might just still be your fingertips, so you might like to do a little bit more kind of your, like a fist, but you know, you don't need to be too strong here. And then let's take the left hand to the right shoulder and around the back, maybe a little bit around the neck. It's only a tap around the shoulder, and then that hand comes down the top of the arm, comes up the inside of your arm, so you turn the arm up, down, and then coming back up, and then one more time down that arm and coming back up. Lovely. So lifting that right arm nice and high, just underneath the arm, the armpit, around the side there, very important. We keep our lymph glands healthy. So down the side of the body, down to the right hip, outside of the right leg, lower half of the leg, the foot, and then come up the inside of the leg, inside. And this time we're going to take our hands onto our booty. Nice. And then coming back up. Hands come onto the belly again. Just nice and gentle. Resting your hands there, finding a little bit of stillness. So our practice today is going to be a nice mixture of gentle movement as well as a few yin poses. Nice. So while we let that energy settle back down again, let's come into big butterfly pose. So you might like to sit on something, lift the hips up a little bit. Remember now, the body gets quite cold quite quickly, so if you need any layers on, just make sure you're going to be nice and warm. And then once the feet are away from you, so nice big diamond shape on the inside of the legs. Don't have the feet up too close. And then to start our kind of movement downwards, we're actually going to take our chin into the chest and then start kind of from the very top of the spine. So noticing your neck, noticing how this feels as we start to let the head be nice and heavy. And then without pulling yourself, you're just going to nicely kind of round your back, check in with your shoulders. Notice how your shoulders feel. And then whatever amount of kind of coming down is right for your body. Wherever you find that sense of resistance, that's where you go to, this area of kind of that sweet edge. It's a really, we don't want to move too far into that. We want to find a sweet edge and then breathe. So it doesn't really matter what it looks like on the outside. Nobody's looking. We move inwards into our inner world. And a really, I think, a lovely mantra for the moment, I have it here, was, oh no, I don't have it there. I am as I am, and things are as they are. I am as I am, and things are as they are. And coming into your breath. Coming into a lovely stillness that is a peace offering. I am as I am, and things are as they are. deep breath into your body. And as you exhale, just that nice message into the body that we're going to move, but very slowly. So taking your hands onto the earth, we're going to push our hands down into the earth, slowly, slowly lifting ourselves back up, taking your time, unraveling, no rush. It's very important that we move very slowly after being in these poses, these shapes really. And then when you're ready, bringing your knees together, straightening your legs, and let's just come down off anything that we might be sitting on top of. And take our hands behind us, a little lift of the chest, and allow the body to receive that energy. Notice how it feels around your knees, your hips. Lovely. And now from here, we're going to actually come onto all fours. So coming onto your hands and knees. And we'll get straight into Sahaja cat-cow. So hands underneath your shoulders, knees underneath your hips. And of course you can go with front and back, straight, linear. Go into a little side movement. Just take your time, moving your head, making circles, and allow this movement to just be very spontaneous, very loving. Closing your eyes, very yin-like, really. Even though we're moving, we can be yin-like, we can be slow. We want to be present. We want to notice how it feels. I always think of this shape we make. It's very it's like a celebration, really, of all the various movements our spine can move. Really amazing. Even though we have this structure in our body of the spine and the vertebra, and we kind of call them all like they're all, these bones are referred to as like one thing, a vertebra. And yet every single vertebra in our spine is different to its neighbor and has different function, different forms of movement available to it. And this movement really gets into noticing all the various movements we can create if we get nice and creative. And I think we're really having to dive into our creativity at this time. Lovely. Just a few more breaths here. As we drop any worries about what it looks like. Nice. And then we're going to come into another yin shape now. Wide-kneed child's pose. So I'm going to actually give you a choice. So wide-kneed child's pose, with your knees obviously nice and wide. Big toes touching. You could take your arms in front. If you have a blanket, you could place your wrists over the blanket. If you want to go a little deeper, you could go into full frog pose, where you take your legs nice and wide, but also your feet go nice and wide. So some of you I know love that pose. So it's up to you. Frog pose or wide-kneed child's pose. Something that feels interesting on the inside of the legs, that feels good for you, manageable, somewhat edgy. A nice tug really on the liver and the kidney meridian lines. So the kidney, having good kidney energy moving around our body, especially at the moment, is kind of vital, really. That word, vital. It fills us with vitality. It fills us with really good energy. And not just energy that we think of for getting through the day, but mental energy, emotional energy. And it helps us really to move away from a place of fear. So having good kidney energy is essential at the moment. So coming back to our mantra, maybe it's may I be at peace with what comes. May I accept things as they are. Take a nice deep breath into your body now. Nice long smooth breath out. Lovely. And then slowly making your way up, taking your time. Bringing one knee in and then the other knee in. Lovely. We're actually going to come up onto our feet and a little hang down over the legs. So taking your feet a little wider, softening the knees, maybe taking hold of your forearms, hanging upside down, let your head be nice and heavy, allowing the spine to hang. Lovely. Nice. And then releasing your hands to the earth. As we inhale, we're going to roll up one vertebra at a time. So we're coming back up to stand. Rolling your shoulders back and down a few times. Little movement of your head. Nice. And then we're going to come sideways onto our mat. If you have a blanket underneath you, you might want to take it out from underneath you for a moment or two. And we're going to take our feet nice and wide. We're going to create another little bit of movement. So we're going to take the right foot out to the side and feel like we're kind of making warrior two, but we're actually going to be creating a little bit of movement. So we're going to bring our kind of a warrior two stance with the legs, not too deep, and then bring the hands together, turn that foot in, turn the left foot away, and a little bit of a warrior stance. Again, it's going to be strong for the hips, the inside of the legs, little pull into the belly, and then inhaling, coming back to the center, turning that foot in, and this time we're going to push. So I better do it the same way. The right foot is away, and we're going to push that left hand now. So it's like we're kind of turning into warrior one. Inhaling, we come back to the center, foot comes in. Exhaling, left foot turns away, right arm kind of reaches towards the side wall. We come back to the center, turning, pushing that arm away, strong out through the palm. Inhaling, coming back, exhaling, pushing the right hand away. Nice. Inhaling, coming back to the center. Little change now. As we push the left hand away, that right arm is behind us, also kind of pushing away. Inhaling, hands come to the center. Exhaling, right hand pushes, but also the left hand behind us. Inhaling, coming back. Exhaling, pressing both arms away. Inhaling, coming up. Exhaling, pushing out through both hands. Inhaling, coming up. Exhaling. Now as we push those two hands away, we're going to add a little twist. So the left hand comes round maybe to the right hip. Inhaling, we come back up and around. Press the hands away first. Right hand comes to the outside of the left hip. Into a twist. Nice. Coming back, up and around. Push away the hands. Let that left heel come up and create that nice twist. Inhaling, coming around. You have to really go nice and slow. Push the hands away, lift the right heel, and then create your twist. Right hand comes around to the left hip. Inhaling, coming up and around, slow, like we're moving in kind of a nice deep, slow way. Left hand comes round, feeling that twist through the spine. Inhaling, coming up and around, taking your time. Right arm, so that right heel lifts, right arm reaches, and then finding your twist. Inhaling, coming up and around. One more time. So lifting the left heel, left arm reaches away, turning your head to the right, taking your left hand behind you, finding that twist. You might be able to look a little further back. And then inhaling, coming up and around nice and slowly, bending your left knee, lifting your right heel, pressing the arms away, creating your twist. Right hand comes round, turning to look over your left shoulder. And then as we inhale, we come up, nice and slowly round to the center. Let's let our hands come down the legs, onto our ankles, folding over the legs. So again, there's a liveliness on the inside of the legs. Let your head be nice and heavy, the crown of the head towards the earth. Feeling a little pull in towards the belly. And we can have a mixture of strength in the legs. We don't really need to be pulling ourselves over. We can just let the arms rest. Of course, it's your choice. You might like to have that extra little pull, but you don't need to. It's more about finding space in and around your lower back, the inner legs, livening up the inner legs. Lovely. 3 more breaths here. Inhaling and exhaling. Inhale. Exhaling. One more time. Inhale and exhale. Lovely. Hands come underneath your shoulders now. We press up into a nice flat back. And let's bring the feet together and come down onto our belly. Now, if anybody's expecting a baby, I'm not sure if somebody was joining that was pregnant, don't come into Sphinx Pose. If you're expecting, or you shouldn't be on your belly for any reason, you can come into a back bend. Maybe a supported bridge pose, or maybe come into hero pose where you create a back bend, depending on your knees, of course. So, Sphinx Pose, elbows underneath the shoulders. That's it. And then, or of course, if you, I always think it's a good thing to start with Sphinx Pose. Just give yourself time. Some of you might want to come up into Seal Pose or have props underneath your, maybe your blanket underneath your elbows, but give yourself a few breaths in Sphinx Pose. And allow this now. Allow your hips to be soft, kind of no clenching, no tightening. The legs are relaxed, the hips are relaxed. And there's a little lengthening, a little climb, like a nice energetic pull up into the heart. So again, there's 2 things happening in this pose. There's a little squeeze happening for the kidneys again at the lower back. So don't make it too much. You want to make it just the right amount. It's very important. And then on the front of the body, we're creating a lengthening through the fascia, the connective tissue. So that's helping us to digest. Keeps the stomach and the spleen super healthy. So for the last little bit of time, if anything has changed, you might need to come down a little bit, you might need to stay where you are, you might like to lift up a little higher, but don't think that coming up higher is necessary. Lovely. So taking a nice deep breath in now. And as you exhale, taking your elbows out to the side, slowly come down onto your belly. If anybody's doing an alternative, start the process of coming up. And then taking your hands underneath your shoulders, slowly making your way up onto your hands and your knees. And then making your way onto your back. Taking your time. So let's have the knees bent and the soles of the feet onto the earth. Allowing yourself to be still. Nice. And then for our twist, let's just take the right foot kind of a bit more into the middle, and then the left leg comes up and over. The right foot still on the floor, and then allow the knees to come over to the left. So it might be they don't come to the earth, that's fine. You might want to have something underneath your knees. You don't need to put any extra pressure on. If that feels too much, you can just have your knees together that way, reaching your right arm out, and then closing your eyes. Some of you might like to reach that right arm up kind of by your ear rather than out to the side. This just adds an extra little length through the lung and the heart meridian lines. So we want to keep our lungs healthy. So that just adds a little extra meridian line stretching for the lungs. But again, it's not like overly doing, it's just the arm is in a slightly different shape or position than out to the side. Lovely. And slowly taking a nice deep breath in now, we'll start to move the arm back in from wherever it was. And then bringing your legs back up to the center, just taking your time, no rush. Feeling the right hip come back down onto the earth, noticing how that feels through your spine, through the right side of the body. Lovely. And then if you had your legs kind of overlapped, your left foot comes into the middle a little bit more, your right leg comes up over the top, or keeping your knees together and letting the legs now come over to the right side. Maybe having something underneath your knees is good and helpful. And then slowly reaching your left arm away. Turning to look over your left arm, maybe lifting the left arm up, a bit more up as if you're trying to reach towards the back behind you. Just gets that extra nice length through the left side. You might feel it a little bit more into your left hip. Closing your eyes. And making sure that you're kind of dropping in, relaxing any muscles that want to get involved. Softening, letting go, allowing the earth to hold you. Really, it does become a time to be present, to be aware, to be loving. Lovely. So beginning now to take a nice deep breath in again. Noticing if anything has changed, anything feels any different. Lovely. And then slowly releasing your arm back in or down, wherever it managed to be. And then slowly bringing your knees back up. Feet come onto the earth and just a little rearranging, straightening. Nice. And then from here, we're going to come into final relaxation. So whatever that is for you, getting nice and warm, taking your legs out straight along the mat, maybe placing a blanket over the top of you. Arms out to the side, palms facing up. Allowing yourself now to be in Shavasana, relaxing your body, relaxing your mind, relaxing your heart. Dropping down into the earth. Letting go. So beginning now to take a nice deep breath into your body. As you slowly start to move your fingers and your toes. A little movement into your wrists and your ankles. And then when you're ready, drawing your legs together. Lifting your arms up over your head, giving yourself a nice stretch. Lovely. And then drawing your knees in towards your chest, giving your knees a nice big hug. A little rock from side to side. Lovely. And then rolling over onto your left side, curled into a ball. Pressing down into the earth with your right hand to come up to sit in a nice comfortable cross-leg position. Taking your hands onto your knees. As we sit, maybe with our hands on our knees, palms facing up, maybe again with our hands on our heart. Do whatever feels right for you in this moment. Knowing that we're all connected. We're breathing together. We're drawing peace into our body, into our heart, into our mind, so that it ripples out into the world. And that lovely mantra, Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. May all beings be happy, be free, be well. And may all of our actions, our thoughts, our words in some way contribute to that happiness, that freedom. We'll close our practice now with sharing of 3 Oms and 3 Shantis. Taking a nice deep breath in. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Drawing our hands in front of our hearts as we bow in gratitude, in thanks to all that we have. We have each other. And many, many, many thanks for joining me today. You're absolutely awesome, and I hope you stay well. And I was thinking, I wanted just to say, you know, the fact that we're doing this self-isolation thing is amazing. It's amazing. So stick with it. Keep eating well. I don't want to be a preacher now, but keep eating well, keep eating healthy, fruit, veg, all of these things, taking fresh air, being with your loved ones, reading good books, watching good movies, all of these things. It's an amazing time, really. We just have to keep seeing the positive. So thank you so much, and I'm loving hearing from you and your messages. Namaste, namaste.